the issues right now are Max Kepler and the bullpen. Like, are the major issues right now. But it goes further than that, too. Like, we could look at other players in this lineup who have not looked good. JT Realmuto looked terrible. Alec Boehm had a bad week. Castellanos had a bad week. Like, and I know guys are going to go through ups and downs. That's part of baseball. But it's just too consistent. And we talked about it Friday with the Houston, how they kept throwing lefties at you. Now it's even worse. Their chase rate is getting worse. They're now down to 22nd in baseball. They have nobody on the bench that they can really, really rely on. Like, there are so many holes right now in this offense that even Bryce Harper coming back, while it'll help, is not going to make it a good offense. It's going to be a mediocre at best, and I'm being polite with that offense.
Well, you look at the month of June specifically here, and much of it has been played without Bryce Harper, and I acknowledge that. We talk about the Phillies' overall season statistics, and you look at on-base percentage, it's still top 10. You look at batting average, I think they're 7th or 8th. It's been a functional offense. Even runs per game, they're hovering around 10th. I think they came into the weekend 11th. They had the big night Friday. That probably pumped up the numbers a little bit. I didn't look this morning. But if you look at where they're at in the month of June, I'll start with, I guess, the positive. They have a 248 team batting average. And you go like, okay, like that's not terrible. It's 12th in baseball this month. But where I start to look at it and go like, man, this is scary, is like you get into like the OPS. They have their OPS right now this month is 704. It's 20th in baseball. Their slug this month, 388, is 20th in baseball. And I can go and read the numbers that they produced over, the past 6 games, and it's 0 and it's 0 and it's a 1 and a 13 and a 1 and a 2, and we see this lineup and you see the deficiencies within the lineup. The numbers are trending in a negative direction. Like, it's not fair now to say, oh, look, they're still top 10 this, top 10 that. They're sliding. They're going in the wrong way. And my question to you is, yes, Bryce Harper comes back. If he is Bryce Harper, the guy that you count on, the guy that you expect him to be, the guy that we've seen here over the last 6 years, is that enough? I mean, it doesn't fix everything, but is it enough? That's my question, because I think that's where you're hoping at right now. Like, he comes back, he feels 100%, and he's more than what he was at the start of the season. And if he's not, and he's just that same guy that we saw in April and May, what can be done to fix it? And will they fix it? Like, that's what this is about. Like, it's impossible to do a Philly show. It's impossible to talk about them after getting swept or winning 2 out of 3, whatever it may be, without being like, there's 31 more days for them to fix this. Can they fix it?
Yeah. Well, Bob, I still go back to listening to Dombrowski on Jason Stark and Doug Glanville's podcast, and it perplexes me even more, right? Like, it bothers me even more after this past week. Like, how can you look at this lineup and say, yeah, we don't really need much here. Maybe a fringe, fourth outfielder type, bench bat type, and look at the rest of it and go, yeah, they're going to be fine. They're not. This offense now, and remember, I'll take you back. Like, a year ago, I defended this offense at this time, saying, yeah, I know that there's some inconsistency, but as long as they all don't go cold together with the good pitching, they should still be fine. And then, of course, they burned that comment. It was a bad take by me. They got cold altogether in October and were eliminated in 4 games. This is a year later, and this offense is not as good as it was a year ago. Yeah. It's just not, right? And so if you've had that depreciation from last year, how you could sit here today on June 30th and go, yeah, we're still good enough. We only needed it. And I understand sometimes you have to say things a certain way because maybe the talent that you need is just not going to be made available at the deadline. Maybe teams aren't going to throw big names out there that are going to help this team. You just say, go out and get this guy. Well, you don't know that guy's going to be available, or you don't know what the cost is for a certain player, whatever. Maybe not. And so maybe Dombrowski's tempering expectations a little bit. Sometimes I understand you have to do that. But to sit there and say that you think what you have currently is fine, that's where I get I'm like, are we watching the same thing? I don't know. That's where I get annoyed.
Well, you would agree that the Pirates have maybe one of the most feeble offenses in all of baseball, correct? Like
they do, and I wish they were in the National League East, because they're 15-11 against the National League East, and I think 19-30 against the rest of baseball. So they'd be a contender in the National League East. Be fun.
The Phillies have scored in 26 games, which is exactly the same amount of games that the Pirates have played. They have scored the same amount of runs in the month of June, which is 107. They also have the exact same batting average, which is 248. The Phillies are the Pirates offensively right now and have been for a month. And if I were to tell you that the Phillies have been offensively the Pirates for a month, you would have to probably say that that's not good enough to make a postseason run. I think there's a thing that happens in this city sometimes where we all sort of see the same thing and it turns into an echo chamber. And a lot of times, like, the narratives end up being wrong and they get dispelled. And there's like a little bit of like I don't know. It's like it gains momentum. Certain ideas, certain takes gain momentum. Like Sirianni's a bozo. He can never win a Super Bowl. Like, everyone was wrong. He won a Super Bowl. And you can talk about whether or not it was really him or he got carried there, however you want to spin it, right? Fine. But like, I think everybody is watching the exact same thing right now, and it's hard to have a unique take. It's hard to have a unique take about the Phillies because we all see and we all know the same thing. And they are good. They're going to win. I would bet right now that they will win. I'd be willing to go even money wager that they will win at least 91 games, which makes you
I think it's more than that, Bob.
I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think it's what I said at the beginning, which is 93. I'm going to stick right on that. And I would bet on that. I would not bet that this team makes a championship series. I don't think that they will, as constructed. And maybe it's a little bit of like a PTSD after the way things played out against the Mets last year, where you got good starting pitching and you still weren't able to really compete. Maybe I think all of us to some degree are over analyzing that particular series and saying, well, just because it happened that one time doesn't mean that starting pitching can't carry you through a postseason. But this offense is so wretched and so filled with holes and inconsistencies that it's just hard to wrap your mind around getting through multiple series, especially against elite pitching. And in a way, I'm a little bit annoyed that Friday night happened because Bryce Elder is cooked. Like, I know you were down Atlantic City doing the Flyer stuff on Friday night. So you probably were not too attentive toward the game.
I was tracking it on my phone, but Anthony, I mean, every time I looked, it was like more runs were getting added.
Elder's pitches, his stuff looked like it was dying at the plate. I mean, you watch a guy and like just independent of result and you go, I don't understand how this guy's getting outs. You remember when I used to say that like last year when Taijuan Walker was at his worst, it was like, it's like when he gets outs, they happen by accident. That's what it looked like on Friday night. Elder was that bad. And credit to them for going out there and beating the brakes off of him. But in a way, it's like, what are you talking about? We scored 16 runs over the weekend against the Braves. You know, we averaged 5 runs per game, and we hit 4 home runs on Friday, and that stood up for the weekend. And so, like, that's where the stats get a little bit hazy, you know, a little bit. They don't tell the full story. This offense stinks right now, and the 13 runs against the Braves on Friday night doesn't change it.